Tim Robinson. Tim, I know this has been a project. People have known that your dad's car was sitting in a field here for quite a while, or whatever it was, and 50 years later, back at the track.
So, to put a little insight on that, it was at my uncle's for probably 10, 15 years. Then my brother got it, sat there for another 10 years. Ended up in my nephew's basement for the past 18 years. So we dug it out, brought it to the 75th anniversary, and the plan is to bring it back all shiny afterwards. Going to redo the whole thing.
Well, I know when you do something, you set your mind to something that gets done. You know, you and I have talked about this a few times. I know you kind of, you're not one for patting yourself on the back, but I feel like you might be the all-time winningest driver at this racetrack, and I'm in a position to know some of that stuff. Now, there's no way to prove it, I guess, because a lot of years the stats weren't out there, reports didn't go to papers, but I've seen you win so many races. Do you have a special memory, this being 75 years? Does something stand out in your mind when you think about Unity?
The best time here is when my complete family was racing. You know, my two brothers here with me, and just everybody in my family was here every single week, and that was all the memories back from the back
right.
then.
And it's probably been a Robinson at this track since day one.
It's been a long time. So yeah. Between my uncles and my brothers and my father, and all my nephews now. So yeah, we got a ton of people still racing. Turn your camera, you can see a couple of my boys over there. They race. We're having a good time. Still, after all this time.
All right. So Tim Robinson, a multi-time champion here at Unity Raceway. Thank you, Tim. I'm here with Buster Roy. Buster is a staple at Unity Raceway. We just discussed this, 20 years of being the official starter here. But Buster, I mean, there's so many, but I know that one of the greatest memories for you in Unity Raceway will be your brothers. Tell me about your brothers.
Ronald is passed away due to cancer about 6 years ago, and Donald was living in Mass, and he has some little health issues, but he's down closer to the hospital that he's got to be at.
We see him on Facebook.
He's still doing good.
Yeah, we see him on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
But give me a little something about the time that you guys spent together here.
It was fun. We enjoyed it, and it was a really wonderful time. I do miss it, and I wish they were still, able to do it. But I can't even really do it anymore. It's as you get older, you have to slow down, and I can't go as fast as I used to run.
I think I'm right on par with you, brother.
Yep.
So, how about you've been knocked off the flag stand. I mean, I can run over, but you could say it all. But is there something that stands out for you in 75 years of the history of Unity Raceway?
When Art Beam took the flag stand out.
Yeah, give me some details on that.
Him and I can't remember who was on the inside, but it was Art Beam, and when he took the two poles out, all I did was hold on and grab the red flag, and the next picture they show, the flag stand has been moved 20 feet crooked, still on the roof of the car, and I was waving the red flag, and I was able to walk away from that.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that does not surprise me a bit, knowing you.
Yep. No, that was a good ride. Yep. And then I didn't want to do that again, but we didn't fix the flag stand that year. We put a wooden platform, and then Andy Santerre's car doing the long john, his throttle started coming out of turn 4. He started rolling. I started waving the red flag, and I'm looking to my left, and he wasn't stopped rolling, and I dropped the red flag, and when the car stopped, it was on the flag stand next to the red flag.
You did your part. You can only wave the flag so long your arm gets tired.
Oh, yeah.
So,
your arm gets tired. It's right.
What drivers impressed you the most here?
Steve Nelson did good.
10
Ralph,
championships.
Yeah. Ralph did good. Chuck a Chance did real good here. And Sinclair did good. And Ricky was all right. Yeah. I've liked Ricky. He was a good guy.
Ricky Craven?
Yep, Ricky Craven.
So how about, Did you ever get any relationships? Did you help anybody work on cars?
Oh yeah, Larry Morton, the 21 boys in Pittsfield.
Yep.
I worked on their cars because I lived right next to them and helped them during the week and come down here and had a good time with them.
All right. Well, Buster, we could talk all day, but brother, you're a legend at Unity Raceway. You're a huge part of it, and congratulations.
Yep.
Buster Roy. We're here with Eddie Bellows. Eddie, you've done pretty much everything at this racetrack, and I've got a memory that we've talked about before. You always like to bring up what top 10 finish in the Oxford 250.
Yes.
Okay, and mine is you just blistering the 100-lap race. Was it a Pine Tree Camp
Pine
event?
Tree Camp race, yes.
Tell us about that. Yeah, tell me about that car, because that was a neat car, Camaro.
Well, it was home built, tube chassis Camaro, built motor, home built. Everything was pretty much home built. I did have a Speedway engineering dealership at the time, and but everything was pretty much home built back when I was racing.
And your brother Bob won a bunch of races, but your dad
Bobby
Cecil's
Racing.
a legend. Give us a couple words about Cecil.
Father Cecil was an innovator of his own time. He was way beyond everybody else in Central Maine. He actually invented the tubular upper A-frames back in the early 70s. We still got the patent for it. Yeah, he passed away in '88, and we raced. Our last race together was in '88, my brother and I, and won a lot of races here at Unity. Traveled all over New England for a while, and had great success. Oxford was always a stable for me to race the Oxford 250 once and finish in the top 10, the first Maine car to finish.
That's awesome.
And racing against the boys from the south. So,
how about your work here? I mean, how many years have you been? Let's include the racing. How many years have you been?
I've been coming here since I was 6 years old. I'm 70 now, and I've worked and done about everything there is to do here. Cleaning toilets, and I'm still teching at Friday nights here, and I'm teching at Bangor on Saturday nights. Still active. I got sons racing, still a family, got grandsons coming up and starting to race. Just been a family racing since 1948.
Do you have a special memory for Unity Raceway?
The special memory here was to race against Dave Dion, believe it or not.
There you go.
In 1975.
Wow.
And to win and beat him in a 100-lap race.
Really?
So
was he in that race?
He was in the race.
Pine Tree race. Okay.
Yep.
Pine Tree Camp for crippled children. It was a big event here. We've actually talked about it earlier today. But this is Eddie Bellows, a big part of Unity Raceway. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.
All right, I'm here with Dwayne Seekins. Dwayne, these are short and sweet interviews, so we don't have to get in depth. You don't have to be nervous like me. 75 years of Unity Raceway. What do you have for a memory?
A lot of them here. This is where I started out racing, and I still love the track today. It's just so many people that I have met through the years, and it's fantastic. I mean, I just love the place.
I know I posted a picture from, 1984, I think. It's Steve Nelson's Camaro and you racing alongside him. I can't remember now. Was the car you were in was a former Steve car? Is that how it goes?
No, both of them were my cars, and I sold it to Steve the year before, and I built a brand new distance car. And that old car that I had built with Steve driving it was still beating me.
Yeah. I think you got him a few times, though, didn't you?
I won a few,
Yeah.
but that old car was a good memory. I mean, it was like a second car I built, and we put a lot of work in it, and I had a lot of pride in it.
So you were telling me that you have a street stock now. That's probably not too far off from being able to run here on dirt, is it?
No, it's not, and it's funny with the street stocks we got now are basically a late model that we used to run back in the early 80s.
Yeah. So you think it's legal, or what? Can you come? Are you wanting to race on the dirt at Unity Raceway?
I have not raced on the dirt at Unity Raceway yet.
Would you like to?
Probably.
Okay. Dwayne Seekins. DNA out again here with David Folsom. David, you got to refresh my memory now. How many championships for you?
I've only got one, and it was 1987. It was in the limited sportsman division.
Yeah. Somebody robbed you of a couple, buddy.
I've placed second probably 5 times.
Yeah. So tell me about the clan in Skowhegan. You guys had such a group.
Oh, there's quite a few of us, and they date way back to the days of Barry Lyons, Tubby Leichness, and Mackie Moore, all those, and we were just the next generation to come by.
So give me your relatives, though, because you had a pile of them. Who? Ricky. What Ricky's last name?
Ricky's my brother, my oldest brother. Shadow is his boy. That's my nephew. My son raced out here in 2006, 7, and 8 in a limited sportsman with me. And my son is out here racing now.
Really, in the dirt?
Yeah, on the dirt track, my oldest son.
How's he liking it?
He likes it. He's got a few championships over to get her done anyway, and he's got a championship here on asphalt, too.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about my buddy, Bruce Shaw, who passed away.
Hell of a man.
Yeah.
He could drive anything. You could give him a car that was 5th place car, and he'd put it to the front.
Yeah.
You know that because you've driven the car.
Yeah, it's a funny story. Bruce had broken his shoulder in an off-season and had a kid driving the car. The kid didn't want to drive on July 4th weekend. I had helped Bruce a year before in the pits at Wiscasset, and he let all you guys know that I was going to drive his race car, but he couldn't get hold of me. So I walked through the gate, and who was your buddy in the 16?
The 17 would be Mitch Hayden.
No,
the 16 was Mark Hayden.
God, he had a Camaro like yours. I thought he was like a cousin or something. Remember we had that grudge match, and my buddy raced his car? God, I can't. Ricky something.
My brother was Ricky.
Yeah,
he drove the 16 street
okay,
stock.
that's what I'm thinking.
That was probably it.
So Bruce broke his shoulder, and this is my moment. I went out there. It was double features. I got through the first one all right. Got through the heat, and then in the second feature, Pete Lovell was the guy to beat, and we were in 6th. He was 7th, and he passed me on the front stretch. So I said, if he's going, I'm going. But I was halfway down the front stretch when I went to the outside, so I ended up rolling the car over. But Bruce then let me run it for 4 more weeks, and I got 2 trophies. And I just can't think of a better person in the world, and you know him better than I do.
He was a good man. He like I said, he could wheel anything. I built him a few of his cars. I built some of his engines, and he won 2 championships with my engines.
Right. Well, the Unity and Wiscasset the same year.
Same year.
88, I think.
Yeah.
So
Gone way too soon.
I know, what a sin. Give me a memory here on the 75th anniversary. What do you remember about Unity Raceway?
One of my best memories was racing against Bob Haley in the 60 car.
There you go.
We crossed the finish line. We had the last half of the race. We were side to side, door handle, me inside, him outside, then back and forth, back and forth. When we crossed the finish line, we both got out of the car and went, Okay, who won? They didn't tell us till the next week. His bumper was ahead of mine.
Oh well, you couldn't lose to a better guy.
No, I couldn't. He was one of the good ones to race with. Chuck LaChance, Steve Nelson, all of those guys were great to race with.
So this is David Folsom, and as far as I'm concerned, he deserves to be in a Hall of Fame here. I don't know how many wins he's got, but what a legend. Thank you, David. So I am here with Racing, Ralph Nason. Ralph, I don't even know where to start. 75 years of Unity Raceway, and you've had it for a pretty good chunk of that.
Yeah, I bought it in 1980, and so it's been a long time.
Yeah. So obviously there's a love-hate, I guess. Sometimes when you crash, you hate the place. But what possessed you to buy the track in the first place?
Well, I was racing, and Bob went into the X-ray film business, Bob Knowles,
yep.
And he closed it, and he was too busy doing the X-ray film to try to keep doing this racing thing, because it's a lot, very time consuming. And he was doing really well over there, so he closed it. And so I contacted him and talked with him about it, and he and I made a deal, and he helped me some, and so I took it from there.
Nice. So let's go, I don't know, I'm trying to think of, you raced around all over the place, so I'm trying to think of memories here for you, and the one that I come up with the most would be winning the Busch North race here.
Yeah, that was with a Chrysler, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Daytona, right?
Yeah.
Dodge Daytona, whatever.
Yeah, no, it was
whatever, right?
LeBaron, Chrysler
Yeah.
LeBaron.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Chrysler LeBaron.
Yeah.
And it was an ill-handling, miserable SOB. But it had a lot of power.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know that you and Pete Silver had quite a race that day.
Yeah, Pete was always good to race with, and you could, depend on, what he was going to do next. He was a good racer.
Nice. Who else is, just say dedicated Unity Raceway drivers, who else were you really impressed with over the years?
Oh, wow. That's all of them. They was all good. Pottle, he's Larry Pottle, and he was great. And, Reserve was always great. Ricky Craven, you name them. Dwayne Seekins, all them guys were, they understood that how to race in comparison with how to wreck somebody. They knew how to race each other.
Yep.
And it was pretty good for years and years. Yeah.
So there's probably a lot of people that don't know this. Ralph, this don't know. Ralph won 3 Oxford 250s in a row. Could have been 5, I think.
Yeah.
Tell me about 1976.
1976. Well, that was an unfortunate year for me. We won the race. And in the driver's meeting, Dick Bear did the driver's meeting, and he said, this is different than anything you ever did before. And you're going to race 250 green laps, and the yellows count. And we tried to get an explanation out of him, and he said, that means that you've got to be on the racetrack for every single lap that we're here. And if you're not going to win.
Yep.
And so anyway, with that in my mind, is we're out there racing and going it, and
One of the greatest racers in history, Butch Lindley.
yeah, Butch Lindley. And,
At that point, were you leading?
At that point, he was leading.
Okay.
And he went in the pit.
Yep.
And I passed him because I didn't go in the pit.
Yep.
And my son Ron said, keep him in sight when he comes out, because he came out right in front of me going into turn 3 the next lap around.
Yep.
I made one more lap than he did. Any way you shake it.
Right.
Count the laps.
So he was going to have to pass you twice. Yeah.
He's got to pass me
To be
twice.
in front of you.
That's right. So anyway, I kept him in sight, and that's what I did. And when it got all over, I had a hell of a scoring problem and what have you. So whatever they did, but it was a NASCAR decision, and the race director, his name was Childress, and I think it was Lance Childress, but I'm not sure. And so anyway, they made the decision. NASCAR made that decision, and Dick Bear said to me, I don't believe it, because look at the scorecards. You got one more lap than he does, whether it's a yellow one, a green one, or whatever. You got one more than he has. Any way you shake it.
Really?
Yeah. And but he said, it's out of my hands, nothing we can do. So anyway, my wife was a scorer, my scorer, and my wife was a bookkeeper in a bank, and she's good with numbers, and she always was. And you look at her score sheet, and it was immaculate.
Right.
Completely down to whatever.
Right.
And take the numbers, check the numbers, whatever. It was all there. But so we always felt that we kind of got, screwed over.
Yeah.
But that's I lived beyond that. Came back, won it again, and I think that was even better.
Right.
So
that's a great memory for me. Some people might not know, but I was a photographer in stock car racing forever.
Yeah.
And so you come out of the car and looked straight ahead and put your arms up in the air, and looked to the right and put your arms up in the air, and looked to the left and put your arms up in the air. And that's 3 of my favorite pictures.
Yeah.
I've never seen you more happy to win a race.
That's it. That's right. Well, I think that was, don't know the word, but that was a release from that 1976 deal.
There you go.
You know, and I mean,
Absolutely.
and I think that gave me back something that was taken away from me.
And the fans were booing something fierce.
Yeah,
I think the
love
third
'em.
one, though, they cheered. I think
Yeah.
they're starting to appreciate it.
No,
just-
I love every one of them. You know, that's the whole thing is being a promoter for how many ever years, it's a race business, and starting NEPSA and putting tours on and all that stuff. I realized something, that in order to get people to come out to these events and enjoy them, there's got to be some controversy, and there's got to be something to bring them back.
Right.
You can't just go out there and race cars round. So you got Meserve and Nason, or you got this guy and this guy, or whoever, you're causing some kind of a commotion, or whatever the word is, confrontations or whatever. That brings them back. You know, and so when they're down there, how many ever there is in one of them Oxford races, that last one, or whichever one you pick, is they're just a booing, and I'm going like this, come on.
Right.
Look at the money that's changing hands, and it brings them back. So next year's 250 is going to be great.
Yeah.
You know, and I just realized that early on in promoting right here in Unity. And same thing when anytime we ever put a race on. You know, when we took NEPSA, we went to
Momini.
Momini, and that was a hell of a our thing in Momini. I owned that for 10 years,
Yep.
and I'm really sorry that I sold it because I had a great time up there.
Yeah, it was a beautiful
And the biggest problem, the track was. You couldn't pass on it good. And so you watch paint dry, and you follow the leader because it can't pass.
Yeah.
And I did all kinds of stuff up there. I put grooves in the second lane. I did all kinds of stuff. And it was just shaped wrong, you know. So, but the people that I sold it to is doing really great.
Nice. How about your run at Spud Speedway as a whole?
Yeah, and I love that thing. That's a racer's sweetheart of a racetrack.
Really?
Yeah, really. I love it. I can pass any son of a bitch there is out there. Yeah, just coming
what
up
about-
off of turn 2, and they're going the wrong way, and you just drive up beside them. And it's been that way forever.
Right.
And Gary Smith knows it. You know, these
Yep.
guys that go up there know well. They like to go up there because it's a driver's racetrack.
Give me something that stands out in your mind here on the 75th anniversary of Unity Raceway.
Well, this is a resurrection. That's what I see. Unity Raceway started in 1948, and with Bob's father, and Bob's father ran it for quite a while, and it was a dirt track. And he had all kinds of people. You see the pictures of people hanging over the front stretch fence and whatever. And when I started racing, in the 60s, it was cheap racing and cheap cars, and the place was mobbed. And then technology came, and I was part of that too. And but technology came, and as a racer, I had to do my job to do the best that I could do, and I did, and I started being able to dominate cars. But the fun was gone because it was too expensive. And so if you take a look and you go to Bangor on Saturday night, and they're struggling. And it's a wacky Wednesday, cheap cars, and he's doing great. And the guy at Wiscasset is doing great. And I think it's the basic thing is it's a $5 admission, and it's great and it's working for him. But it's not working in Oxford on Saturday nights.
Right.
And Beechridge is closed and gone. And so I said to Georgie, and George Fernald was operating it, and I said, George, the only thing that makes any sense to me is let's get back to square one. Tear it up. Because it was at a point where it was so rough, and it had to come up or it had to get done again, all over. Well, it was $500,000 to do it over. And I said, I'm going to spend $500,000 to get a few cars like wherever, and ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, the math doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so it didn't make any not money sense, and so Georgie started tearing up, and then he got sick. Right. So then it came back to me, and
Well, let me butt in here. Joey seems to be doing a heck of a job.
And Joey, Joey chased me around for a year, and I've known Joey since he was born. Okay, Roger, his father, and his mother Bobby were my best friends, and what have you, and we did a lot together. And so Joey was after it and after it and after it and after it, and I said, well, if anybody's going to give it a try, I said, it's going to be him. So, and when I came to the decision to let him go ahead, we made a deal and what have you, and he's followed pretty well through on the dirt part of it and it's working. He had 75 or 6 cars last night and had a good crowd. It was good. His wife called me looking for the tables this morning, and she says, and we had 7 rollovers.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's bringing them, you know. And so you bring in the excitement back, and so I think it's going. So now what he's got to look forward to here, as far as I'm concerned, is to make some improvements, and he's doing that. He's doing that as he can afford it. Yep. You know, he's got new front stretch blocks coming for the sprint race. I think he got a sprint race next week, and he's new blocks in the front because he's scared of the tires because it throws them in the air, and he's doing different stuff. You know, the fencing. So as things go and as he gets, you know, money ahead and whatever, he's going to revitalize it all. So it can come back to being the state of the art.
Nice.
And it still would stay dirt.
So I had, go ahead.
You know, is if you go out and you look and you go up in western New York and you take some places around, and them dirt tracks are surviving and doing well.
All right.
And I know of 2 in Quebec, Drummondville and Granby both. One gets 7,500 every Saturday night, and the other one gets 4,500 to 5,000 every Friday night.
Yeah.
Spectators.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's unreal. And it's, you know, when you got spectators coming in to pay the bills.
Quebec had such a huge fan base.
Yeah. But it comes back to being able to afford to have the cars, and then it comes back to those guys to be able to afford to have the cars. And once they get them, they spend 20 grand or 30 grand in a motor and all this other stuff, and the tires and the cars. It's 100 grand for a new Super Late motor. You know, state of the art's 100 grand.
Unbelievable.
You know, so how much can they race for?
Right.
You know, they can't race for $300. Well, when you only put 1,200 people in here at $5 a head, you ain't got money enough to pay them. So you can't do it. You got to go back to basic, where it's.
So we'll wrap this up with, you won't remember this, but 1984, I came here. Darvo had won 2 in a row. I hadn't been to races for 3 or 4 years, so I had a camera. I came here, I went in the pits, said, Dave, there's no one in the infield taking pictures. Do you think I could go out there? So he went up in the booth, radioed over to you, and said, can this guy go out there? And you said, tell him not to get run over.
That's all.
And I ended up having a career in stock car racing for 25 years.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and I'm going to close this out with, you know, everybody has their choice, and you know that I get some experience in covering races, and I'm going to tell you that in my mind, you're number 1 in Maine. You're the best racer. People say Roe, you know, and they have their favorites and stuff, but I mean, Ralph, it's just been unbelievable.
Good.
So thank you for everything.
Yeah, my pleasure.
75 years of racing at Unity Raceway, and a lot due to Ralph Nason. Thank you.
Thank you.
just want to thank Pete and Stephanie and everyone that put this on for us today. I'd like to thank everyone that took the time to bring their cars out and share stories with everybody, and our crew that makes this possible each and every week to keep this track alive. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Guys, I'd like to give a large thank you to all you guys that took the time and spent the money to haul these race cars to this event. I'd like to thank Maine Vintage Race Car Mobile Museum people, Gail and John, for bringing the truck and trailer, and so many others of you that have donated to help us with this cause.
Hi everybody, I'm Steph. I just want to thank everybody for being here today and showing your support for Holly and Joey. Today is a fundraiser. We're raising money for Joey and Holly to do some projects here at the track, and I know that this place has meant an awful lot to me and my family, and I'm sure it's meant a lot to you too, or you wouldn't be here today. I'd like to thank all of the drivers for being here today and these wonderful vintage original cars from Unity's history. And also, I would like to personally thank you for just all the memories that you've made here and shared with all of us today. And this event wouldn't be successful without all of you. So thank you very much.
Okay, so we're getting ready to wrap up the program here today, and I just want to let everybody know that today we've talked to track champions, car builders, promoters. Pete Silva's ex, you saw earlier, is a NASCAR national champion from the Carolina region. So there's been a lot of guys that have raced here, like Andy Santier and Ricky Craven, have made it to the big time, and we've just had the best time today. I'm so happy I was here, and we hope you all enjoy the program. And to wrap up this day, we want to thank the people here at Unity Raceway and LCTV. I'm Dan Ayotte, and I hope you've enjoyed the day.